How's it going? Matt McNeil coming to you from the garage. And I'm currently working on this lady. You might recognize the top half of her face. And some of you who've been following my stuff might actually also recognize the bottom half of her face. It's not going to be an Amy. A few months ago, I did a tribute piece to for a mask that when I was a kid, I was obsessed with by Be Something Studios. It was called Dream Girl. And basically, it's like this beautiful lady. The top half of her face is beautiful, and the bottom half of her face is completely ripped apart. This is the second one of these that I've done one, and this is the second one that I'm doing. And, you know, every time I do something, I always try to mix it up just a little bit, see if I can figure out a better way of doing things. I think that maybe the first iteration that I did was a little bit simpler because I cast a skull mask first, like the entirety of a skull mask, I think. See, the problem is I don't take notes. And then I put the Amy mask on top of it, which made it simpler to get the upper palate in and the lower jaw, because everything just sort of fit in, and then I just kind of wiggled it around and made things fit. In this case, I had a blemished Amy blank and decided, and it was already foam filled. And I decided for this one that I would cast just the bottom half of one of my skull masks. There's one of my skull masks over there painted as Skeletor. But I would cast it basically from here down and then sort of tear everything out, pull the foam out, and stick it in there. And I'm not saying that this is a better or worse way. It's just been a little bit more problem solving only because I haven't done it this way yet. And I think that it may prove to be just a little bit complicated because all of that stuff is already up in there, like the bottom of the cheekbones, places where I would attach tendons and things. So it's not going to be difficult, but it's going to be a little trickier, I think, than the first iteration in that regard. So what I did was I went ahead and pulled everything out. I plasti dipped the back of her throat there so that it would already kind of be dark because I'm casting a tongue as we speak. And what I did was I mixed some latex with flocking, and these were just little extra bits I had laying around. But what I've done is I've taken the lower jawbone and coated it with that stuff, and I also coated the inside here. And when it dries, it'll dry sort of like this nice hamburgery, meaty red color. Now, you're not going to see very much of this, but I like to be thorough with this stuff. So, yeah. So anyway, if you can see, I'm getting ready to probably drop this in this little container here. But that's the lower jaw where the teeth go and all of that stuff. So I've already sort of fit everything in and dug out the foam where this lower jaw piece goes. So I kind of know that it already fits. And then once that happens, I'll glue everything in place and then come back with all of these little bits. I have a ton of latex parts and pieces that I can stretch around and create that gore that will go on the lower jaw there. So that's where I am at the moment. Hopefully this works in this capacity. The other thing that I'm going to do is I think I'm going to paint, at the very least, her base paint and maybe some color passes on her before I insert this jaw and glue it in place, because the one thing I don't want to do is end up, you know, speckle painting or something and getting a bunch of speckle paint all over this and then having to go and clean it up. So I might as well paint this face while it's clean and then insert that jaw later. Here's a quick tip though, and I don't know why it never occurred to me sooner. For the last little bit, you know, I've always been using these sort of acrylic teeth, and I've been putting them in with super glue, and it's great. Super glue holds very, very well. And it occurred to me when I started doing all these zombies, and I was having to like stick tendons in place and stretch them out and that kind of thing. You know, before I would stick a tendon on there with latex and dry it with a hair dryer, or wait for it to dry, then stretch it and then stick it and hold it and then dry it with a hair dryer. Super glue is the best thing to stick latex to latex. And then I go back and I latex all of it in so it becomes technically one piece. But the super glue is perfect for tacking that stuff in place to hold it in place before you can get to your latex. So if that helps anybody, it's actually super helpful, and I'm sure everybody out there is like, yeah, dude, we've been doing that forever. But I wasn't, and maybe you're not either, and maybe that's a helpful tip. But anyway, there you go. You can already sort of see what's doing here. It's going to be disgusting in the best possible way. Yeah, this is going to go in there with the mouth open, with the tongue hanging out. Lots of latex bucket bits, and look at this. Oh my gosh, look at all this gold right here. This is going to be fantastic. Lots of muscle and tendonage going on in there. So I'll pull all that stuff out and start to create. Now, the one thing I will say too is when I do this stuff, I do try to look at some anatomy references and figure out which ways that the muscles run, because even though most people may not know anatomy, musculature, that kind of thing, if you see something that is really close to the way that it actually is, even people who don't know will go, yeah, that's what it looks like under there. That's definitely the way those muscles work. That's disgusting. So that's the goal. But yeah, lots of muscles and fat and all kinds of goo to come. As soon as the stuff dries, we will be in business, and I'll start painting her face and getting her ready to go. And hopefully that means I'll have 2 of these at MaskFest. Or maybe one. Maybe I'll decide to keep one, because I have to tell you that first one I really like. And so maybe it'll be this one at MaskFest, or maybe it'll be that one at MaskFest, or maybe do both of them at MaskFest. Depends on how hard this one is to make. If it proves to be not a horrible challenge, maybe I'll make a third and bring 2. We'll see. Anyway, hope everybody's having a good night. Take it easy, and I'll talk to you soon.